All right, this is episode number 63 of the Low Code Campfire, and it is a first, however, because it's the first one we've held on a Thursday. So we have a Thursday blaze today. Welcome. This is an event we hold usually on Fridays at 10 a.m. Central Time, but it's a community gathering where we get together and share techniques, challenges, experiences, and anyone's welcome to participate. Everyone's welcome to participate. Bring something to show. Past editions are recorded, and all editions are recorded, and the past editions are out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/plantanapp. And you can get there with that QR code or with, there's usually a link and stuff we send you. So do subscribe to that. The agenda that we run is pretty straightforward. We do around the campfire. We'll do first call, whatever's hot and on your mind. And then we'll do things like looking at the campfire website, the feature request, any submitted topics. If anyone has a ghost story to tell, we like to get into those as well. Things that are perhaps more difficult than they should have been. And when we share those, we help our fellow low coders. So jump in, get involved. You can show and tell, you can do a chat window, whatever you need, but please participate. We only have one guideline to really mute if you've got noise going on behind you, and otherwise be nice. Questions and topics can be submitted in advance, and you can use this code to get there. And with that, hello everyone. Looks like a set of regulars, mostly regulars here today.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yep, I see. Welcome, Jim. I see you're going to sit quietly along and listen along, unless you just can't stand it, unless we have the answer wrong. So welcome, Mr. Everett. So we'll jump right to first call. Anybody got something going on that this group can help with or applaud?
Yes, I got something. After an upgrade, clean and sharp, action grid, I believe, all the grids are empty. Anybody see that in the past or something?
I'm sorry. Can you say again what the circumstance is?
Circumstance is that grids that were upgraded from, I'm not sure because Tigo did it, they were upgraded to 5.19, and after the upgrade all the grids are empty and nothing is showing in the logs or in the console, or it's just very strange. The SQL runs in the SQL console, but no nothing. It's fun. Yeah, it's not funny because all the grids are empty. So maybe someone has seen that on the 1.19 or 5.19 versions. Is the question.
So that does sound like unusual behavior. I haven't seen it. If anyone does, please interrupt me. But I'm going to start by asking more questions, which is, do you know what version you started from, and if you came up incrementally, or I mean, sometimes we get into issues. For example, somebody is on a low version and jump right to 5.19.
I think that will probably has happened from, I don't know. It's a kind of old system. So maybe something spooky going on, and because I did not do it myself, but I was asked to look to the issue, and I didn't see anything which was particular. I don't have access to the server, so
yep.
It is just a question if, hey, I've seen it before and you have to look at it and this and that, then it will be helpful. Otherwise, we skip it because it requires more information, which I don't have.
Okay. So just in general, I mean, we have some information out on our site about upgrade paths, and
Yeah.
we just know very old systems are challenges, right, on a DNN Sharp. So what other modules, the questions are, what other modules
Yeah.
are on there? Were
Yeah.
they all upgraded at the same time?
Yes, it seems that they all on 5.9.19, so that's already, I checked that already. So
Yep.
well,
If they didn't step through them, and then what version of DNN, all that stuff comes into play.
yeah, I know. It's just the funny thing is, if I export the module and then import it in a new module, then it's the grid shows up, so the items the listing is shown. But if I export the module and import it in the existing version, it does not. So there's something fishy going on, and well, I've not looked at it further because I had no time to do it. But it's just a stupid strength thing, and that's.
When you say that when you say you export it and you import it and it works, you're saying on a different system?
No. It works on the same system, but so if I make a new module,
Yeah, new module. Okay.
I export the content of the old grid, just the DNN export import functionality, and that it works on in the new module. So
Right.
there is something
Yep.
in the module that is that's not working anymore.
So just the what goes on behind the scenes is there are migration scripts from each version to the next.
Yeah.
So it's not just whatever version. If you had an empty system and you installed 5.19, it would work. But when you have an older system and we've decided internally to change things, the way that, for example, the parameters or whatever. So migration scripts have to run. If you don't touch all of the important bases between wherever you were and wherever you're going, the migration scripts don't run, and then you're out of luck. So
okay, so you're saying that it could well be that some migration scripts did not run.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
okay.
There's no easy way to trigger those. If there's the ability to restore and work a particular, we'd be happy to give the upgrade path and all the downloads. It requires interacting with support to do that. But tell us all the versions and everything that you have, and then we can provide a plan to upgrade. Alternately, what you've already discovered, you can export, you can recover. It's just an ugly amount.
Oh yeah, and it's just a mountain of work again. That's a problem.
Yep. Yeah.
Because you have to relink every other module to.
Yeah, and it's error prone. Absolutely.
Error prone. You have to test again, etc., etc. So that was okay. Yeah, then it's probably the upgrade scripts which did not do what they should, or
sure,
jumping over versions. That is probably the case here. So that's yeah. Well, we have to see.
Yep. Just again, we're happy to work with anyone that to come up with a plan. Just as a general thing, it's the last, if you go from one version to highest stable of the next version and do those sequentially, and unfortunately that can be a huge job if there's grid and 300 products involved. You've got a lot of work to do, but points again to the beauty of Plant an app, it really, because with the one-click upgrade and things like that, all the
it's getting better in each version. And in this particular case, of course, you have the old DNN Sharp method, and you can see what happens now. It's diverging as we speak. So. And of course, it's less tested as well. So that's
I got into one of these recently. I think it was with Mark here on the call, but another approach can be that, I mean, when you export these modules and like after, okay, now you have a version that worked because you've exported it, re-imported it, or imported it into a new module. So now what it built works. If you then export and compare, you might spot what the difference is. That's kind of a fine-tooth comb thing too, but there's a possibility that it's something simple that you could go through again and fix. But none of those are easy answers for
no.
how to do it on a big site.
Yeah.
And you might run into other errors too if they jumped.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah. Okay. Well, thanks.
Sure.
So, Peter, do you have a backup of the site before you upgraded it?
Well, there probably is a backup, but we passed that phase already. Changing content and stuff like that.
Right.
It will not be a solution. It's,
well, I had a similar situation to what you're describing. It was with forms and not lists. And I did work with Dale on it, and I don't really think we fully understood what the problem was, but what I was able to do to recover was I restored the backup into a new hosting account. And then I spun up the site so that I could see old and new. And then I would export the, in my case, it was the form design. I would export it on the one that was working. And then I moved it over to the site that was broken. Well, that the forms were broken, and imported the form there. And that helped a lot. I think I noticed that there were some fields in the form that I then needed to tweak, and it was probably some breaking changes, but I didn't slow down to figure it out. But that way I was able to get all my things working again. But it did require me to spin up a whole nother website, which was the backup, a previous backup.
yeah, we don't have problems getting stuff back. It's just a lot of work to export import in a new.
Either way,
So
it's
that's
a lot of work.
yeah. Either way, it's a lot of work, and that's always a pity.
Sorry that's happening to you, man.
Yeah, that's stuff happens.
Jim's got more good suggestions going on in comments.
Yep.
He says to export and import into the same module, possibly.
I think that's what he said he tried.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. All right. Someone else?
I hope what I hope is a simple question. In 121 or 5, 121 with the Bootstrap 5 rids, where are the templates stored to be able to change the template of that? I need to make rows have rows that are have two fields in them stacked. I figure there's a template somewhere.
So I don't know.
Did not get that completely because the audio was not very good, at least in my end. What I always do if you want to stack two fields in one column, I make a custom column and get the data and add a break to the data and make it an HTML field. So then you got two values in one column.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. We can do that. Yeah, it is new. In prior versions, there was a template someplace that I could go lay it. Couldn't find it in the new version.
Oh, okay, yes. Well, there you have a point. I'm not sure. I have not tested it in Bootstrap 5, I guess. It was the old version.
Oh yeah, you can do it in Bootstrap 5. Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
It's
A
just
second
knowing where
option.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Dale.
I was just going to say, it's just knowing where the template is, and I was going to ask Patrick if you could take a note that.
Yeah, and I
you can find that.
Yep.
Okay, well, as an alternative, you can also, and I've done this before lots of times, I'll join the two fields in the underlying query that is supporting the listing. And so two fields become one, and then feed that into the listing.
Yeah, I have fields coming out of a stored procedure, so and I can't go edit that to do it, but I could use a computed column or something like Peter suggested, I guess.
Yeah, compute is your option then, unless you
Yeah.
change the stored procedure.
Yeah, that would probably be bad.
Good. What else? Jim gave another question, and he gave me ample time to prepare, but I didn't. So I'm just going to throw it up here. Questions about forced download to make it download, or is there another step after? So file not automatically downloading from a generate PDF. I don't recall on the generate PDF action, does it have forced download as part of the outputs? I don't recall.
Yes, it does.
And it's not working for you.
Right.
Um,
And I know I've seen you do it, but when I went looking for some YouTube video, some of the YouTube videos, go, okay, what am I missing here?
Well, it could also be a browser issue, right? Not every browser behaves the same with PDFs that are generated.
I actually have a list of tests about that, so let's see if I can find it quickly. So in my case, I'm not using the generate PDF. I'm actually, there's already a PDF, and so and we'll get to that in just a second, right? But there are methods. So you can use redirect to URL that opens in a new tab, force download, and that works. Another is you can, this is the same thing without force download, right? So you point to the PDF and open a new tab. And so that gives that you should just show the PDF, not download it. And then another one I have called send file for download. You can point to a folder file and open it. And so those are all answers to questions that you didn't ask. So let me try again. If we actually create a PDF, so this is what you're trying to do. So we do PDF. So we're generating PDF. And its output is going to be in the temp folder. And so is generate PDF the action that you're using, Jim?
Yes, and then I'm using that enable force download, and I just not sure if I understood how it's supposed to work.
Yep.
I've tried putting
So-
a URL there and giving it names and stuff. And it's creating the file in the backside on the server.
Just verifying you're doing this in Bootstrap 5, right?
Correct.
Send file for, oops. I have too many things open here, so, or rather the wrong thing open here. So create PDF and download is the one I just created. Did it generate PDF? So if you were to store a relative URL, you could use the other techniques that I just mentioned, right? Those will work. So,
Right.
And at this point, I'm trying to give you a workaround.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I haven't done that either. So it's good to see it as a refresher.
So let's try this. So we'll do a relative URL as an output, and then we'll add a redirect to a portal page. The page that we're going to do. Redirect to a URL. The URL is the relative URL that will do new tab force download. Let's see if that will do it. So we can easily do it in a separate step, right? So let's, and then what we might be encountering is that something that doesn't work in Bootstrap 5 that should work. We can try it in Bootstrap 3. It's take
I'm suspect of that because this is a site that we're migrating, and it's the buttons coming out of a grid. And where we used to have an Excel export on that grid, I noticed it's not downloading either. So,
all right, so if we find this thing, we'll create a page to put that on. This is going to be a Bootstrap 3 version. And I am going to open this one back up and export it. We'll just import the same thing and convert it to Bootstrap 3. So we'll export the content. Oops. Go back over here and add it. Flip it to Bootstrap 3. For example, my other one still works. We'll do the create PDF and make sure we edit it for, we don't want to do this. We only want to do this. So it doesn't seem to work on either Bootstrap 3. I'm going to add one more thing to test. Yep, it looks like a broken feature. We'll take that under advisement. In the meantime, if you and I don't know that I've ever used that feature, so I don't know if it's supposed to. Jim, is there a chance you have a suggestion? Okay, Jim, I'm going to mute you. If you want to jump back in, please do. So I don't know. I've never, I was just saying, I've never used that feature. Has anybody else seen it and have any suggestions on how we can make it work, or do we just need to report it?
I mean, I'm good with if as long as you're doing the same thing I was trying. I just, you know, there's so many little hidden secrets that in the tool that sometimes I go, oh, you must be doing it wrong. So.
Okay, let's enable force download. There's the possibility that we don't understand this. There could be something in the documentation. Have you happened to look on that?
Yeah, I couldn't find anything.
Nope.
The other question related while you're there, in that generate PDF where you gave it a PDF name, doesn't say it. Can you put a token in that field? I was getting blank data back, but I don't know if my token was really
good. Yeah, so it doesn't say that it supports tokens. I don't have any experience, but we can easily create one. Give it a test. Oops. So I'm going to go back to the version that does actually download here, the Bootstrap 5 one that we set up. And so we'll try it. Actually, to make sure, I'm going to do that so that we can see that it works. It does. I see I have PDF here. Maybe it was doing that originally. Let's take a look at what. Yes, so I can just show you here that the one that I first did, it was PDF. So you don't need to add a PDF to it, but yes, it supports tokens.
Yeah, follow-up question on what you're doing, if I may. Do you have to clean up these files that you're creating? You have to delete them after this?
Absolutely, there's no, we don't provide a mechanism to automatically clean these things up. Whenever you create something, it's there on the file system.
Makes sense, thanks.
Because you would want, you might want it forever. So although I think is there a delete file?
I think a while back it used to be called kill. There it is. Good.
Yeah, we just have a lot of other actions. I could have searched for file and found it, but delete file. So from the case of something temporary that you want to allow to download, of course, you can't delete it until they've actually downloaded it. So you almost have to queue them, or you know, we have delete folder and create folder. So do we have create folder? Somebody Patrick, do we have a create folder?
Yeah, get or create folder is 2 down from you.
Ah, thank you.
Yep.
So potentially you could create a job that once a day ran and deleted a folder and then recreated it so that you wouldn't have to queue them. So you could have like a temporary folder. Like say otherwise, and let's see, we also have can we read the name of files in a folder? Probably do it with Razor. Yeah.
Also, I was going to add real quick that when you create your file, you can tokenize the folder, do an expression for the folder, and that can automatically create a folder too. So you wouldn't actually have to do it in a separate action. So the where you create the folder, you can turn it to an expression, give it a token, and it'll create the. You can give it a path and a token. So if you want it to be under it, the new folder to be under a specific path as well.
Are you saying something like this?
No, so well, open up the generate PDF action. It does have what I'm talking about, right? Because I know that other actions do. So destination, yeah, make that an expression. Put in the path and a token, and it'll create a new folder in that location. If the folder does, if the tokenized folder name that you put in there doesn't exist, then it'll create the folder. And the path should be, you know, from the root of your yeah, but if you want to do it like that, that's fine too. It'll just create a folder at the root.
Right, and we so we'll do this. We'll create Hello World 3 as a Campfire
I'm
test.
taking advantage of that feature with the file upload field, letting it create the folder that I need. It's very nice that it does that.
Yeah.
First of all, we try it and we get a file, and now if I remove PDF, it's assumed. And then if we go into site assets, we should have Campfire test. Yep, there it is. So good point. So you could dynamically, you know, one possibility would be to dynamically create folders to put things into. Also, we even demonstrated on Cafe yesterday that we have that pack option. So potentially you could put 5 PDFs into a folder that you created and pack it, zip it up, and provide the zip for download. So lots of manipulations that can go on.
Dale, does that generate PDF? Does that return something when it runs, like the file ID perhaps?
I'm sorry, the create PDF?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that would be one way to clean it up then afterwards.
Yep.
Grab the file ID and delete that immediately. Well, not immediately.
Yep. So pack folder provides an
There we
out
go.
token name that has all, and this actually was a new feature that we just added. It did provide it since you specified a name and a place. We didn't used to explicitly give you the output, but now we do. So there's your output token will have the absolute URL, the file path, the link click, everything that you need. So I'm not going to save that. That's just for illustration. This didn't give us anything. What I'm thinking is that the link click enable link click URL forced download. So what if we gave it a link click URL instead of a relative URL. So we'll call it, just to give it a name, and then let's see if it actually force downloads it, right? So this isn't here. I'm just wondering if we're misunderstanding the functionality. Nope. So we'll have to look into that one. I don't know what that's supposed to do, is to be able to demonstrate it. Since this is on my suite of tests and it's a good test now, I'm going to go ahead and leave it as a one that I do on each version. So force download. Perfect. Okay. Great question, Jim. Seems like you had another. Maybe I didn't get it into the list yet.
The other one was just about formatting numbers. It's our token. I have numbers like, with 6 decimal places coming out of a database that I want to put on a HTML report. I was looking for a token to reformat it to dollars and cents type.
Yep.
You can. Oh, this is not where I thought. Does anybody? I don't think we have a core token that just lets you nicely format. And I found references to doing things with JavaScript and things like that. And at this point, when I was just feeling like it was overkill for something that would be pretty common, like I was just missing something.
Yeah, I don't think we have one built in.
Okay.
cool. Since I had wandered over there, oh, this would, here it is. This was visual of the question. Putting that, and you wanted to reformat it to 25, 35. It feels, I'm pretty sure I've done something like this as a database token. Of course, I've said before, my approach to the world is SQL. So you can throw a number at SQL and get it to format it in a number of ways and grab the output. And so it's pretty easy to build something like that. As you point out, there's a JavaScript way and probably Razor script and 10 other ways. But I don't think we have a core token that does this. And since Patrick is not correcting me, he's either being
I don't believe that. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. Yep.
There was another submission in advance that I didn't get on here, so I apologize for that if it's one of you. I'm going to go on to Campfire Contributions. Go and sign into this site. So we had a new contribution, and it shows created by me, but that's not correct. Was that actually Jim Everett did this? But this is another version of what we were looking at last week that does the row pop-up. And so you click and you get a pop-up to the row. And if you click a different one, you get a different row. We had a problem with the last one where the search wasn't working. And so if you did a search and you clicked it, didn't work. This version does work depending on even after you've searched, and I presume filtered as well. So actually, that's a great question. We'll have to test things live, right? So we look at this grid and turn on filtering for the username. Can easily prove that one out as well. So if we look for the Dales and click 2 works, 3 works. So filtering and searching both work. Searching and filtering works, so that's cool. It's premature. You'll see it. This is kind of one of those things. Since I'm here, we'll see it in the next release. But the filtering is going to be enhanced to add. I think we already have a search if there's a long number. Yeah, let's verify. So if we search this, we already have a search bar here, and you can look for particular ones that you want to select. But we're adding a select all and a clear all links here, so that we had a customer with a use case that they want to be able to usually select everything and then uncheck a few things, and it was kind of to go through and check everything or check only the ones they want was really painful. So we added a select all and a clear all, much like we've done for in forms with select drop down selection. So just a nice to have feature that you might be able to take advantage of. Everyone is supposed to start clapping at this point. So
Yeah, let's chime in. I've been using that drop down, and I really appreciated seeing that search box appear when it did. And the select all is great. I'll clap.
I guess if I have to beg for it, then it's not worth anything. But
You deserve it. It's good stuff.
And even in seeing this, one of the nice things was, for example, that if you did a search, this select all is only going to apply to the searched things. And so you could search for a subclass of thing and then select all. And so I see it as having more impact than just what the case we were trying to deal with this particular client. And the same way, the clear selection. So you could select everything and search for another class of something and uncheck those by class. It's with the clear all. It's really quite clever, I think. A lot of functionality that's just built in. Anyway, thanks to Jim for building the solution, and he also did a nice code walkthrough exactly what and how and all. So if you're interested in seeing how to do that, it's all right there. And of course, the idea behind Campfire website is to have these things implemented so that you can see them at work. I showed up here because I was wondering about formatting, but I don't remember if yeah, I searched and didn't find anything. So that would probably be a nice contribution if somebody ends up doing a, oh, thanks for the applause, Peter. That's great. If somebody ends up doing that, this would be a great place to put it. Okay, so find my way back here. Management. So that was Campfire. I wanted to take a minute in feature requests. First of all, feature request is on the community portal, and just point out if anybody hasn't seen it, we have the live help here, and 2 or 3 times a week we provide live help. So you have to sign up for that in advance, but if somebody wants to do that, take advantage of it. We've had a couple of people from Campfire do that already. And, they've been good sessions, I think. Anyway, we were looking at this. We look at Mark here by votes. There's just been a couple of things that are going on here, and then I'm going to report progress. Help find a particular field in a busy form. We're in the midst of redesigning our administrative screens, all of them. But the approach that we're taking is that we're starting with automation, and when we get that one right and all the features that we want built in, then we'll branch out to other ones, so the form administration and things like that. So Mark, I just want you to know that I did put this in the context of, if you have an action stack, being able to find a particular action in a busy action stack. So the ability to search for that, for example, or at least putting it in the ear of the developer to see if they can find a solution for that. Right. So we are using this list to try to improve the product.
Well, thank you, Dale.
We previously suggested simple save to the workflow designer, and in the same way, we're going to ask that we get a simple save in the automation designer, and that should just kind of be I think a standard feature, the ability to save your work so that you can walk away and not lose your place. Right. This thing, the ability to disable an action, we actually did build that into the new automation, into the actions that are in automation. Again, this is the template that's going to be rolled out to everyone. So there's going to be the ability to click it and it will disable. It will have a different color while it's gone, while it's disabled. So exactly this request is going to be delivered in automation. And so
that's exciting.
Yeah, this bump thing, you actually had 2 requests under here. One was to be able to bump an action up and down by 1. And so that one is under consideration. We think it's a good idea, and it's probably very easy. So we're going to allow it to be bumped up and down. But the other one is built in. The expand all and collapse all is a feature in an action stack. So if you want to expand all of your actions you'll be able to do that. Or if you expand them one by one and then you want to collapse them, you can collapse all. So we're definitely working from your list, right? So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
So my hope is that to encourage these have been good, and we try and feed them to the developers at the appropriate time. So and then I need to do some cleanup on lists to make sure that I have the right statuses on everything, but to know that that things are getting done. I hope it's encouraging to you. While we're talking about automation, that is going to be the topic of next week's Low Code Cafe. We're going to show off the new interface. And really it's in the context of we're going to do an automation deep dive, all the different triggers that are available. And also Bogdan is going to show how to create a new trigger, which I've never done. So I'm kind of interested to see that. He says, oh yeah, that's easy. That'll only take 10 minutes. So being able to add triggers to automation, and then just to show off as much as we can the new automation form. With that, just letting you know the direction that we've taken is to keep the old UI, just like we did with updates. You have access to the old UI and the new UI. We hope that we get everything into the new UI. That's the plan. But we don't want to take away the old until we're certain that it meets with everyone's approval, right? We didn't miss anything. So you'll be able to flip back and forth into that new UI. All right, Peter, thanks to you. We see nothing but upside from that, right? You can still do all your old jobs, and everything should work exactly the same, but you can jump into the new user interface, and we feel like it's a nice, cleaner, and has these features like being able to drag things around, collapse things, drag things. We're moving some things out of the way that are infrequently used. So the whole idea is to just make it cleaner and more usable. We put together a dream list for the next phase, but we'll be interested to hear yours when you see this. What else? What did we miss, or what else could we do as long as we're in there? So come take a look on Wednesday. What else? Anybody with something they bang their head against the wall for the week and wanted to get off their chest?
I have a question on something I haven't researched yet to see if the tool supports it. Which
Sure.
is, I need to do a file upload, but the customer wants to be able to drag a file and drop it into an area rather than point and navigate, click and navigate to the file. Specifically, they have files that come to them in email, and they want to grab it out of the email and drag and drop it over there. And I haven't tried or researched yet how to do it, so I don't know if it's already supported in the tool.
It seems like File Manager Control does that. There's a File Manager Control that you can use that you can, so in action form, there's an actual control called File Manager. that you can add. And it has things like where is it going to go and the file types that you support. And then within that, there is a for each file, so you can do something with the files as they are uploaded.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything with them. If you don't put anything here, they just end up in whatever the folder that you have. And there's a built-in browse files. So these are the files that are in that folder now. And so if I were to upload a file, and let's see if I can find something here. So I've got this folder. I'm going to drag one of these onto it and drop it. And so it's a PDF, and so we submit it, and it's going to upload, and then it's here as a folder. And then because I had that for each that was there, I'll just show it before I had a log error that says a file has been uploaded and exactly where it went. And so if we were to go and look at our event log, we should see those in the log.
I saw Jim Everett posted a question asking about which mail client, and it's Office 365, so the Outlook client.
Oh, yeah, and I kind of missed that part of your question from the email client, right? I was saying, as long as it's draggable, it should be droppable. Curious here. See if I can find anything that isn't. It might have an image that I care to share.
Jim, Anthony, does your Office 365 require a password change quarterly or something like that?
Not that I'm aware of, but this particular client has a lot of security, so they may have extra things on their corporate network that require that. I mean, they use Active Directory, and you have to change your Active Directory password every 45 days.
Right, I'm recalling that I attempted to hook up to a mail client on 365 before, and when the password needed to be changed, it broke the connection to the site, and that was a surprise that recurred. It was a bit unpleasant, so I was wondering if you had a plan for changing it in advance, putting on a schedule, something like that. Sounds like you haven't run up against it.
Not yet, but this just came to me, and it's like, oh, again, one of the many hidden gems is like, I think I've seen this, and I spend a lot of time searching.
On your previous question, Jim, it's interesting to note that there are other fields that do uploads that just have like a click here to select the file to upload. You can drag and drop right onto that click here button, and that is sufficient.
Oh,
Yeah, like I
That's a
think
good-
the old links module from DNN had such a button, and there are other modules as well. You just drag it onto the button itself and it takes care of it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, so I'm trying to drag out of outlook.office.com, and it doesn't like that so much. So dragging from a desktop application seemed to work. Web one didn't work. It's interesting.
I think that file upload, that file manager field, I think you can actually set it to upload immediately versus uploading on submit. I think you've got the option to go either way.
I think you can. Too.
Not seeing it either. If it's not, there it
Auto
is.
upload, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That,
Yep.
that comes in handy in some circumstances.
Yep. Cool. Okay, so we have hit our hour. I am going to stop the recording, but thank you guys for coming to another edition. Thank you for putting up with our change to a Thursday today. And we look forward to seeing you each time. Glad we could solve a few things today. All right. Thanks much.